Hey y'all, welcome back to the Naptime CEO podcast. If this is your first time hearing my voice, hey, how are you? My name is Angie, and I'm a serial business owner and mom of two. I'm on the grind to grow a multi-million dollar legacy, all while my little sleep, and I want you to join me. Don't forget to follow the show here and on Instagram at Naptime CEO Pod. Also, don't forget to rate the show. It helps way more than you think. Before I start today's episode, I want to say that we have hit a milestone. Starting tomorrow, which is Thursday, the show will be on YouTube. So hopefully I'll be able to put all 7 episodes up tomorrow on YouTube in like a video podcast format. And so going forward, every Wednesday's episode will be uploaded every Thursday. So you'll get the VIP service if you're following me on the podcast, but you'll be able to see a visual if that's what your thing is on YouTube. So don't forget to head on over to YouTube tomorrow to follow the show and become part of the Naptime family. Okay, let's get back to the show. Today, we're back with part 2 of our series, Habits That Are Keeping Your Business Stuck in Place. So in the first episode last week, we talked about habits that drain your focus and your confidence. But in this one, we're diving even deeper into the sneaky habits that quietly block your progress. Things that look like they're working, but really they're keeping you stuck. All right. In today's show, doom scrolling, not having clear goals, not following your plan, not taking accountability, ignoring the data and feedback, and analysis paralysis are all on the chopping block. So grab your pen and paper and let's get right in. All right. Now, habit number 1 is doom scrolling, which is a productivity killer. All right. That endless scroll through social media, news, or other people's wins, and sometimes their losses, right? I am one who loves to watch all of these videos. I read all the quotes and I share the little laughs with my friends, my sister, my family, everybody. So I love the little thrill I get while I'm scrolling on the internet. All right. We've all done it. Okay. You sit down and check your email or post a reel, and before you know it, you have fallen right down the rabbit hole of sometimes comparison and negativity. All right. The problem isn't just that you're losing time. It's that you're losing focus. All right. So doom scrolling eats away at your confidence and your creativity, especially when we are curating these feeds that typically are showing other people's losses, or even other people's wins, because sometimes it's too many wins, right? Now, I'm gonna be very clear. Doom scrolling is mentally draining. All right. When it comes to social media, we have to learn to put limits on how much we're consuming. Our businesses deserve 100% of our effort. So doom scrolling before completing your daily to-do list can effectively halt your business in its tracks. Not only that, but spending so much time looking at others be successful or have the life that you wanted can rob you of your joy, your creativity, and it can make you anxious. So let's be real. Social media has a way of altering our thinking. I think there are many studies out now that are saying how social media is impacting the way we think, the way we go about our lives. I tell my students all the time, it even impacts how they go about communicating with each other in terms of the fighting and the bullying and things like that. These things create doubt and it robs us of our precious time. Okay, so I'm begging you to do anything else. Literally anything else. All right. So the question becomes, how do we fix it? And to me, it's easy, right? Easier said than done. And y'all, I'm on the struggle with y'all, I promise. I have a issue with social media as well. So that's the thing. But first, we want to finish any of our tasks, our chores, and our lists before clicking into any app. Okay. Even before you are posting or scheduling your content, make sure that you are done with your chores and your lists and whatever. All right. I would also go as far as to say is go to somewhere like Later or Buffer where they are automatically scheduling for you. That way you're never inside of the app. You're never inside the interface. All right. So think of social media as a reward. All right. You can watch it as soon as you've done all the other important stuff. I do set an hour, a limit a day across all my social media. So once I hit that limit, then it's time to put my phone down. All right. Now you could also set a 15-minute social media timer as a break or mini reward. So say you've done 3 things on your list and now you feel like you deserve a little break. That's fine. But have some discipline and get back to your duties once the timer goes off and that little break is up, man. We have to get back to work. Next, change what you're consuming. Start following content and people who inspire you, not drain you, or create self-doubt or feed into images of yourself or the world that are negative. And get away from those accounts that are giving you an unrealistic view of other people's lives. It rains on these folks' parade, okay? They just don't show you the storm, okay? Also, one thing that I have found social media to be very good at is helping us curate content to keep us engaged. They want to keep the phone in your hand. They want to keep you strolling, whatever the case may be. If you like one post about bad baby daddies, I promise you, 8 more are coming, especially on TikTok. TikTok is very good about showing us what we have liked or what we have engaged with. Now, that being said, make sure that the content that you're engaging with is positive and or educational. We want to make sure that we are consuming content that is feeding our goals, not our insecurities or our fears. All right. This also includes podcasts and sound bites. I have found so much joy in following content related to books I like to read. So I'm a fantasy girl. I love witchcraft, wizardry, and nymphs and fays and all that other good stuff. And I also love accounts that create. So I have found pottery accounts. I have found book recommendation accounts. All these things, and they help inspire me to get going. So ultimately, you do have to protect your peace because your creativity is depending on it. And so why not? All right. So the second habit is not having clear goals. Let me ask y'all something. How are you going to know when you've arrived if you don't even know what you're aiming for? That's what I thought. Okay. So many entrepreneurs set goals like making money or grow their brand, but those are feelings, not targets. When we're setting goals for our business, it's important that we know exactly what we're to do. So how long do we have? And to be realistic in our goal setting. It sounds good to set a goal to reach 1 million followers in a month, but keep it real, sis. You have 126 followers right now. A more realistic goal might be 5,000. Okay. And that's if you can be consistent and are posting quality content. This goes for every goal in your business. There are a variety of goal setting techniques like SMART or PACT or FAST. Child, you name it, it's out there. And I mean, so many, right? So I won't box you into one. So I won't pick one to go into. But I will say Google and do some research and find the best one for you. So if y'all want me to go through a goal setting thing, either here on social media, leave a comment or a note or whatever, and I'll get to it. But it's important to find one that works for you, set your goal, and then follow through with that goal. Now, to follow through with goals, I love to use a top 3 list or make sure I have a solid to-do list when my day starts. So right now I am posting this at 5:30 in the morning because it's late. Normally I post at 5:30 on Wednesdays, but this is not coming out till 12 on Wednesday, but that's okay. My little is not sleeping. Actually, he is in the room with him. He's promised me he's going to be quiet. But getting the podcast done was on my top 3. So in line with my discipline was getting up this morning and getting down here. I have my coffee. I'm doing this. All right. So this is part of my to-do list. So when you're doing a top 3 or a to-do list, this breaks down your goals into actionable steps that allow you to look at the goals piece by piece. Now, this can help you feel more accomplished because you're always working toward the goal. So if the goal for me is to post an episode a week, right? Scripting and having a day where I script or having a day where I record or having a day where I edit and that's part of my top 3. Once that is done, I feel good. So now today, the scripting happened over the last 2 days. It took me longer than usual to script. And then this morning, I'm going to record. And then by 12, I'm going to edit and post. So right, once I get those all checked off, that is done. I feel accomplished. All right. Now, when you're talking about goal setting and setting those goals in those top 3, you have a roadmap instead of a wish list. So it's not I wish or I'm going to make $1 million, right? Now you're saying I need this month a month, but this is how I'm going to do that because these are the income streams that I have. So in your business, it's the same thing. So clear goals equal clear action. All right, now let's move on to the next habit, and that is not following through with your plan. So it's not just enough to have a goal. It's not just enough to do the to-do list, but you have to follow your plan. So raise your hand or comment, since we're on YouTube now, if you have ever created a beautiful plan, I mean, it's color-coded and all that, then you completely ignore it after week 2. And if you like me, this is after 5 days. Put your hand down. Now, planning can feel very productive. Like it feels real good to discuss the goal and how you plan to meet the goal, but execution is what actually moves your business. Following that plan takes a bit of discipline, all right? Being able to look at the paper every day and know what your actionable steps are for the day to follow the plan through to completion of your goal is key. Let's be so for real. A plan is only as powerful as your discipline to follow it, right? So before you abandon the plan, try and understand why you're doing so. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Most of the time, I just lack discipline on looking at that paper every day, following through, doing my goals, whatever the case may be. I am working on that. But ask yourself if you're giving the strategy enough time to work and if you're changing directions because it's not working or because you're impatient. Are you just tired of doing it? Or is it not a good plan? Like, you really have to digest these things. Sometimes you're not getting the results that you want because the plan just sucks. All right. And other times it's because you have unrealistic expectations and are not allowing the plan to take action. It could also be that the plan was unrealistic from the get-go. So, for example, choosing to post every day sounds really good. I've done this a million times until you realize you have to plan, create, and post every day. And for us as moms, that might get in the way of parenting, right? I am a full-time parent all the time, okay? I am the one that picks up my kids. If they have any extracurriculars, I'm picking them up or dropping them off, up to and including having to volunteer at the school. And sometimes that's after hours. So it's unrealistic for me unless I am incorporating that day or what I do in a day into my social media, which I have done. Then it can be unrealistic to post every day. If you know me and you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm posting once a week, and that's really on Wednesday. So I'm getting better at that as well. But for right now, with everything else that I have going on, the 1 day a week is what I got. All right. So in line with goal setting, be sure that you can handle your plan that you set for yourself. And remember, consistency compounds. So even those small steps repeated every day create massive results over time. All right. Now, this next one is a bit uncomfortable, but very, very necessary. And that is not taking accountability. When it came to my cleaning company, I was aware that I just didn't put much time into it. Didn't really care about it. And ultimately, I did hate the company. If you know me, you know I don't really partake in cleaning. And initially, the company started as a demolition and cleaning company, and I was more into the demolition side. But it's neither here nor there. I could not do the demolition part, so I dropped the demolition, did the cleaning, and I just hate cleaning. All right. Now, it would have been easy for me to blame my customers for not recommending me to other people, Google for not promoting my listing, or my employee for not showing up when it was necessary, because she did miss a couple of days. And for some of us in other industries, it's also really easy to blame the market, the algorithm, or life circumstances, especially when you're balancing motherhood and business. But accountability doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means owning your power to change. My solution to this is shift your mindset. All right. When you say my business isn't growing because of X, Y, and Z, you're giving away your control, right? We're in control of our business. And let's be honest, this is your thing. So you decide how you show up. You decide the customer experience, yada, yada, yada. So instead of throwing that onto some random aspect of business or the universe or other people, right? Reframe it in a way that is solution oriented. Try asking yourself, what can I adjust to get a better result? So if I really want to grow on social media, it might be more realistic for me to come through and say, okay, I'm just horrible at social media. So this is a way that I can get better. Create those to-do lists, and then posting twice a week. Maybe I'll post on Monday and Wednesday, or maybe I post 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that's more realistic, right? But then I go through and make a plan. I set a plan to edit on content create on Saturday, and then edit all 3 videos on Sunday or whatever. How can I make it better so that I'm actually growing on Instagram? And trust me, I am working on that. But anyway, I like to say, find the lesson in the blessing. This mindset shift turns every challenge into a lesson, not a limitation, and ultimately will create a stronger business for you and your family. So you're growing, you know what the issue is, you're working on the issue, and whatever the case may be. All right. Habit 5 is ignoring your data and feedback. Your data is your business's voice, and ignoring it is like tuning out your customers. Whether it's your website analytics, Etsy sales, or social media engagement, that data is telling you what's working and what isn't. All right. Data helps us know what videos or content our target audience likes or dislikes. And we want to create more of what they like. Duh. But it is important to remember that low views doesn't necessarily mean that they hate it, but that it could be delivered in a format that they can digest easier. One way that they actually like, right? And then feedback is a huge one. I can't count many times business owners or those with brand identities have gotten onto social media and slammed their target audience because a product or service wasn't provided positive feedback. All right. And I do not recommend this for anybody. If you have a brand or you have a target audience and you depend on these people to buy tickets or buy a product or sell your e-class to whatever the case may be, the worst thing that you want to do is slam where your revenue sources come on from. Why would you do that? And so there are a lot of cases in social media where people's sales have been dramatically altered because of what they have come on and said, what they're calling people. They're talking about these people doing X, Y, Z, or whatever the case may be. So let me say that feedback is essential in helping us understand what we can do to improve our business. And this is from our client's perspective. This is telling us what the clients feel about our customer service, any products that they care about or don't care about, or services that they just can't live without, right? They're telling you this is your business thermometer coming right from the source. These people are buying from you. They know what they like. They know what they don't like. They know what they want you to prove, and they're going to tell you that, all right? It is key when we are talking about feedback that we don't take it personally, right? Take it professionally. If something flopped, great. Now you know what to tweak, right? And so don't get mad, get better. It's that simple, right? So one of the things for my rage room, I had customers say that there wasn't enough breakables in the room. So then what we decide to do is you have to put more bigger breakables. You have to put more exciting breakables. And this would typically happen when we were low on stock because we were letting people pick. So then a thing that we did to fix that was go through and pick for the customer. So make sure they can have a good mix of plates and cups and statues or whatever the case may be to break. This way, you're not allowing the earlier groups to take from the later groups. All right. So in other words, I digress. It's important to look for patterns, not perfection. That's how you grow intentionally and not accidentally. All right. Now, we have reached the last habit. I know y'all are sticking to the end with me. This habit leaves your business in neutral. Okay. And it's a big one. All right. Analysis paralysis. paralysis. If you don't know what analysis paralysis is, it is essentially overthinking something to the point of inactivity. All right. Let me be clear. Watching hours and hours and hours of how to grow on social media does you no good if you don't ever plan on using what you've learned. Girl, stop watching and get to work. All right. I get it. You want to get it right. The logo, the product, the strategy. But I honestly can't stress enough. Perfectionism turns into procrastination. And nobody knows that more than me. All right. And it is a number one way to have a business that is going nowhere fast. Let me tell you one thing. Clarity comes from doing, not thinking. How will you know if those hours and hours of videos, podcasts, and reading those newsletters worked if you never put the information you learned into practice? Yeah, I thought so. So it's important to remember that you won't find all the answers before you start. You find them as you go. So being patient and disciplined, and like Dory said, just keep swimming in the whole process is key. Now, here's how to break free of analysis paralysis. Set yourself a decision deadline, 24 to 48 hours to choose and make the decision. All right. When I decided to rebrand my podcast, it took months because I didn't feel like I had quality equipment, wasn't really sure all the topics I wanted to discuss. And just, it was so much. But one day I woke up, set a first episode date. I established a season 1 episode planner, which I'm not even following. I found other topics I liked more and felt were more important. But anyway, I just went for it. And it's the best decision I ever made. I'm here and I'm sharing and I want to grow this community. So it was important for me to just get started, right? And now we're in Q4. So come back next week. We'll talk about how to prepare the best Q4 of your year. But anyway, once you've decided that you are going to do, because we're not saying no to what we're going to do, accept that your first version won't be your final version. All right. So I do sell on Etsy. I sell digital products on my Etsy right now. I'm still working out the kinks to some of my stuff. So, but I am going to eventually, by the end of the week, I have set a goal to post what I have been working on to Etsy. All right. I can change it later on down the road. The listings are not going to change. All right. So accept that your first version is not your final version. You can always change it. You've got plenty of time to hire someone to redo your logo, update your equipment, or to take a class to advance your skills. And so keep that in mind. Remember, done is better than perfect because done gets results. How are you ever going to know if your customers like it if you never post it? Right. Now, for last, I do have an honorable mention, of course, and that is having a full plate. Essentially, a full plate is kind of having a lot on your plate so much so that it overwhelms you, and it will have you too busy to work on your business. So I will discuss that in another episode because this one is already a little too long for me, and the full plate comes with a strategy so you can help yourself kind of put all your things into one place. So come back for that. But anyway, with that being said, this is it. All right, we're at the end of another episode. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Now let's recap. Doom scrolling, not having clear goals, not following your plan, not taking accountability, ignoring data and feedback, and analysis paralysis are suffocating your business and leaving you spinning like a hamster in a wheel. I want y'all to understand that breaking these habits doesn't require perfection. It just requires self-awareness and some small shifts. All right. So time for my challenge. This week, pick one of these habits and focus on breaking it. So last week we did that. We're doing it again this week. And now the baby is in the frame. But anyway, these little baby steps will add up to big differences. All right. All right, y'all. If today's episode got you trying to make some shifts so your business can grow, share with another mompreneur who needs that reminder. Tag me on Instagram at Naptime CEO and tell me which habit you're working on this week, just like we did last week. So you found a habit last week that we're killing. This week we're finding another one. Okay, we're establishing new habits in the effort of growing our business. All right, I would love to cheer you on, per usual. All right. So remember to keep your head high and your patience in abundance. And until next week, bye.